Traditional storage arrays have limits, and were never designed for data growing at 60% a year. They've got limited network bandwidth, limited controller processing, and limited capacity. And when you run out of capacity, you're forced to migrate to a larger system. This is a very disruptive, high-risk process that ultimately adds zero value to your business. GridStore started with a clean slate and a goal to break free of these limits and deliver powerful storage that's also incredibly affordable. The Grid is a new model of storage called software-defined storage. We virtualized the entire storage stack, and we distribute this across a powerful grid architecture. We've literally taken software out of the box, and we break free of the limits of traditional storage arrays. To do this, we started by virtualizing the controller. Instead of having a single controller, now you can have as many as you want. This gives you an unlimited amount of parallel processing power that's perfectly balanced to the demands on the storage system. This completely eliminates the centralized processing bottleneck common with a single controller. Virtual controllers talk to a virtualized pool of storage in the network. A storage pool presents itself as a standard network share or a mapped network drive, so end users and applications see nothing different. A storage pool is created by adding 1U building blocks of storage to a standard Ethernet network. These building blocks, or storage nodes, come in different capacities to meet your different requirements. Within the pool, you can carve it up into multiple thin provision volumes to meet your needs. When a vController writes data to a volume, it breaks the file up into an equal number of parts as there are storage nodes that make up that volume. The fragments are then written in parallel to each of these nodes. It's this building block approach to storage means that you can start with only what you need today and grow it to any size you need in the future. Effectively, there's no endpoint on your storage system anymore. So if you need to double your capacity tomorrow, now you can. If you don't need to add that capacity until next year, you simply add it then, just by attaching another block of storage to your network. What's really cool about the Grid is that by simply attaching blocks of storage to it, the Grid becomes more and more powerful. With each block of storage, you're also adding both capacity and parallel network bandwidth into the pool. And because data is striped in parallel across these nodes, as you add more, each node actually does less work and the system gets faster. For example, if you had a volume made up of 5 nodes and later increased it to 10, when the virtual controller writes data, it breaks that same file into 10 equal parts instead of 5, and it distributes these evenly across the storage nodes. Now, each node is actually doing half of what it did before, and it does the same job in half the time. It's through this design the overall system becomes very powerful, while at the same time, the storage nodes themselves become very simple devices. Because data is processed before it leaves the client machine and it's delivered in parallel, only a fraction of the data arrives at each of the storage nodes. And so the nodes do very little except take packets off the network and put them on the disk. So what happens if a storage node fails? When a vController writes data, it's broken up and encoded in such a way that if we lose any number of them, the data can still be put back together without loss or disruption. This is something that we call Grid Protect, and it goes way beyond the capabilities of RAID. Instead of just protecting disks like RAID, the Grid is a truly fault-tolerant and self-healing system with no single point of failure. It protects against any combination of network failures, node failures, disk failures, and even silent bit rot. Grid Protect allows you to dial in the number of faults that you want to be able to withstand without data loss or disruption. And so by virtualizing the entire storage stack and leveraging the power of a grid, you are free to scale everything: bandwidth, capacity, processing, and protection. The Grid is storage without limits. It allows you to turn simple building blocks into the most powerful and affordable storage available today. Check out the next few videos for a deeper dive into the Grid.